Hi everybody, welcome to my science lab, also known as my kitchen. I am here with you because I can't be with you in the classroom, so I thought today we would start to do some of the labs that we would have done in class had we been able to be there. Today we're going to start off with density. This is going to be lesson 4 in your SNP. I know it's backwards, so let's get started. Okay, so I have my safety glasses on and I am ready to get started. The materials I'm going to be using for our experiment today are graduated cylinder, our scale, water, and varying pieces of chalk. So the first thing that I think is important is that we talk about how you measure the volume of an irregularly shaped object. When you are looking at something, say like a piece of chalk or a rock, it can be hard to find its exact volume. And remember, the volume is the space that an object takes up. So in this case, if I break this chalk in half, I now kind of have an irregular edge and I'm not going to be able to find an exact volume. So what we're going to do is something called water displacement. When you're doing water displacement, the first thing you do is you put an even amount of water into your graduated cylinder. I like to do about 30 or 40 milliliters because that's easy to know where I started. Okay, so I'm at 30 milliliters. Now, this is what I'm going to call my starting volume. So when we're looking at our volume, we'll know where we started and where we ended. A few days ago, I asked you the question, what happens when you put your hand in water? We know that the water level goes up because the water has to move out of the way to make room for the object. No two objects can occupy the same exact space at the same exact time. So I'm going to measure the volume of each of my pieces of chalk. I'm going to start with a small piece. So all I'll do is just drop it in. And ideally, it would not be fizzing on top. It looks like the volume has gone up to 32 milliliters. So the volume of this small piece of chalk is 32 milliliters. Now, I'm going to have to dump this out, so please excuse me for one moment while I run over to my sink. And I grabbed some paper towels while I was there because I'm making a mess. Okay, so 32 milliliters. So I had 30 milliliters to start. 32 milliliters was when I had chalk in here. So I would take the 32 minus the 30, and that means that my chalk is 2 milliliters. And something else that we really haven't talked about yet is that 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. 1 cubic centimeter is the measure of volume. Let's do our medium-sized piece of chalk. So in the process, I dumped all the water out of my sink by accident. And I'm going to start again at about 30 milliliters. For this one, I am going to do a medium-sized piece of chalk. So I'm going to do about, I think we'll do about half this stick here. Medium-sized piece of chalk, starting volume 30. Ending volume for this one is also about 32. So they have pretty much the same volume. There wasn't too much of a difference in measurement. Again, excuse me while I get the chalk out. So looking at our two pieces of chalk, we have small, we have medium, and now we're going to do a whole piece of chalk. So one large piece of chalk, 30 milliliters. right at 30 milliliters. You can kind of see. Big piece of chalk. I'm going to slide it in because I don't want to make a big splash all over the book I have next to me. And this one, the volume has gone up to 37 milliliters. So 37 minus 30 means that our chalk is 7 cubic centimeters in volume. Pause for a moment. Okay, so what we did was we completed the bottom of the table on page 30 in your SNP, and I'm going to put a copy of that in Google Classroom for you to record the data as we're going through this experiment here today. Okay, next up, we have to do mass. So we have our scale. I'm going to turn it on to 0. Can you see it's 0? Me neither. Okay. 0, and there's a little g. I'm going to need to put this flat on the table, so I will be moving the camera so you can see that flat on the table. I'm going to start with our smallest piece of chalk. First, I'm going to zero this out. It's not zeroed. Smallest piece of chalk, and I know you're going to have a hard time reading this because the camera is backwards, but our smallest piece of chalk has a volume of 2.7 grams. 2.7 grams. So our smallest piece of chalk is 2.7 grams, and its volume is 2 centimeters cubed. Our medium chalk is 3.1 grams, 3.1 grams, and it's about 2 milliliters, or 2 centimeters cubed. And then last but not least, we have our big chalk, and our big chalk is coming in at 10.8 grams, and it had a volume of 7 cubic centimeters. Okay. So we have gone through and completed the data table that is going to help us to finish our lab investigation. So now what we need to do is we need to calculate density. To calculate density, you're going to take the mass divided by the volume. So in this case, our mass was 2.7, sorry, I forgot about that, 2.7 grams divided by 2 centimeters cubed. So you're going to go through and you're going to divide and find the density of each of the objects. That's all for now. I'll see you next time. Maisie. Hi. Brody. Brody. He's fiercely private.
Hi, Brody. Thanks for being a part of the audience.